Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Black Heart is signing Black in again, asking you to hit that share button because the message is more important than the messenger, and this message is quite important. Now, this message is for black folk that are Muslim. It's for Muslims that ain't black, and it's for black folks that are interested in Islam. There is a fatwa, not really I guess you could say a fatwa. It's an answer to somebody's question. And the question is asking, what does it mean that the women of paradise are going to be white? And the sheikh that answered the question said that they will be white. Everybody in paradise will actually be white, even though other colors are still considered desirable. There was another scholar who answered another question on another website. And he said that the different skin colors were a test. Lighter skinned people were sort of like, they had the same test as rich people, tested to not be arrogant. Darker skinned people were tested with their patience, the way that poverty is a test. It is easier to not be arrogant than it is to be patient. So clearly one test is more difficult than the other, and both of them came from the assumption that lighter skin was to be preferred. Others are okay, but it's better to be light-skinned. Both of them came from this, and I am not here to greet those scholars with the greeting of peace that I gave you in the audience. I'm here to tell you that when you identify even a scholar like this, you should start calling them deviants. Now I want to start with you Arabs, Pakistanis, Indians, Afghans, all you semi-Negroes that don't know you're semi-Negro, just taking for granted these things. You are not my people. Now, we're supposed to be unified as Muslims. We're not, and it's not my fault. It's not my people's fault. It's yours. You are not my people. And if you're going to try to use scholarship to justify white supremacist ideas, you are a disbeliever to me and a hypocrite. You're not like the normal person that was just born and raised Christian, and that's what they know. No, to me, you are a damn hypocrite. If I know you're like this, you cannot lead me in prayer. You are not my equal. I'm better than you are, simply because I don't walk around thinking that my people are better than yours because of our different colors of DNA. That makes me better than you. I accept that as human beings start off as equal, and our moral decisions make us different, better or worse. I came to remember that. I'm not trying to contradict the law. You want to contradict the law, and you don't care that you're doing it, and you want to try to drag Allah into your white supremacist racism. May he smack you around and correct you, or curse you if you will not accept correction. There is nothing inherently superior or better about being light-skinned, or being white for that matter. And you are not my people, and I don't count you as Muslim, especially if you're a scholar saying this stuff, until you change your position and actually state explicitly that in this life it's actually better to be dark-skinned or black because you're not the oppressor. You have to say that much, or we are not the same people. You disbelieve. You should not be a scholar. You shouldn't even be accepted as a Muslim, let alone a scholar. And also this idea that whiteness is inherently more beautiful is a flawed idea, and I'm going to tell you how you know. The verse in the Quran that compares the women of paradise to pearls, lu'lu' maknoon, does not mean that they are white. Because pearls in nature, see, if you studied other things, you would know this. Pearls in nature come in 4 colors: white, off-white, what we call mother of pearl, purple, and black. It depends on the water they're in and what their nutrients are, but these things affect the outcomes of the pearls. Pearls actually naturally come in multiple colors. The ones that we sell as jewelry and buy as jewelry are the ones that are white or mother of pearl. That's the truth of the matter. So that to which Allah compares the women of paradise come in various colors, mostly 4. Your whole premise is wrong. Your understanding is wrong. You are rat, bastard, racist, white supremacists who need to turn your thobes and your turbans in for some white sheets and some white hoods based on what you feel, because you're not only accepting this idea from the oppressor of the planet, you want to drag Allah into it and use him to justify it. twisting around his verses. You may not know this about pearls, but you don't even want to look into pearls. You just assume that they're all white, and therefore this is what it is. So therefore Allah must be just as colorist as you, your white supremacists behind. And to some of you niggas that were talking about Ayasa Sly in Mecca, when she said Ana bint Mecca in that rap video, I didn't condone the use of music to talk about Mecca in general. Rap, I prefer it a cappella as a Muslim. I get it. I don't know of any foul language that she said in the video. I'm not fluent in Arabic to that level, but I don't know of any foul language she said. From the translation that I read, she said, we are women with whom you can complete half your religion, meaning get married. Don't upset us though or we'll hurt you. You know, stuff like that. And she had people dancing, but the girl that was dancing in the video was a little child. She wasn't an adult. And the moves that they had were recognizable to African Americans and to Africans from the continent and to Africans from the Caribbean islands. I don't think you niggas fully understand. You who got on there and tweeted, whether in English or in Arabic, that she's not even really from Mecca originally. I don't think you niggas understand that she represents your ancestors. Whether she's Hausawiya or whether she's of Somali origin, she represents your ancestors if you're really a true Arab. East Africans don't look like they do because of your Arab blood or your white blood. You look like them because of your East African origins, nigga. And may Allah curse you for assuming otherwise. Now, a lot of Arabs actually tweeted against the racist, and you're to be commended for this. You are my people. If you also accept that there's no God but God, and that Muhammad ibn Abdullah is his slave servant and messenger, you are in fact my people. But if you are one of those who who've tweeted the racist stuff, like she can't possibly be from there originally, and she may or may not be. But if you're one of those that tweeted that, you're a rat bastard, racist hypocrite, and frankly, you should be identified as such. And we, the Ummah, don't need you. Why don't you just catch a plane to the Vatican and Rome and go accept Catholicism at the hands of the Pope? We don't need you in our lands and in our countries. We don't need you in any black nations that are even Christian. You need to go straight to the Vatican. And look at what you'll be surprised to see. A lot of black Catholics. You see. You who tweeted this, you who agree with this, and even worse so, you who claim to be scholars and gave rulings to back this up, you are pieces of trash. You're worse than what I can say on here in good taste. And I've been dealing with this from before I even left the United States and came to the Middle East. I'll never forget when an African-American friend of mine from Atlanta came to the city I happened to be working in. He found a job there. I introduced him to the tribe that had taken me in. But when he met them, there were people from a bunch of different tribes that were at my friend's house. And some of them were talking about doing dawah missions to Africa. My friend asked politely, what's the interest in Africa? I'm just curious. And then they asked him, well, what's the interest in your curiosity? He said, okay, well, to be honest, I've heard people call us slaves and they think it's normal. And so, but now I'm hearing that there's an interest in giving dawah in Africa. Later on, they came to me and said to me, Blackheart, talk to your friend JJ. He's over here causing trouble, causing fitna. I said to him, what conversations did you have with him when I was not around? And they said to me, no, we're talking about when you were there. Oh, those conversations, well, that wasn't his fault. That was you guys' fault. He was right, y'all were wrong. End of story. We know that we're screwed up as a people, we African Americans. We know we have to make changes. You better ones think that you're normal and everybody should follow you. You think you're the example of the Muslims, even though Allah said in chapter 9, verse 97 and 98, that you all were hypocrites mostly. You were the most stern in disbelief and hypocrisy. You hate paying the zakat and paying poor people or helping poor people out. And you're the least likely to know the limits of what Allah revealed to his messenger. So after Allah has said this about you in that chapter, ironically the most militant chapter, and I've heard the last one that he revealed, he says this about you, and you come back and tell me that I need to tell JJ to calm the hell down. Your cousin from Sakaka, you know what Kaka means, right? That's why I said that. Your cousin from some Kaka, from some crap, because that's what he was taking in the form of drugs, sat up there and said to him that beauty meant white, not black, said this to JJ's face, and JJ didn't want to talk to him no more. And then his backwards Bedouin behind didn't want to accept that he had even insulted anybody. Your relatives, sir, your relatives and his relatives were arguing with JJ against your own relative who was a rat bastard, low-life racist. He doesn't have to hate JJ. He insulted him for being black. If he had known that I was black, he would have said the same thing to me. JJ's right, your culture's wrong, it's backwards, it's screwed up. And the sooner it vanishes, the better. The more offended you are by the changes coming down, the better they are for you. Your Arab Islam sucks. I'm talking to the entire Arab world, all of you. Your colorism sucks. And I say that because I'm not saying that Islam is the problem. No. Your Arab understanding is the problem, because your Arab understanding is white supremacy. In many cases, you become more white supremacists than the outright white Christians that are walking around, because many of them would at least they're trying to accept the idea that we are born equal. They just got issues with the culture, or they think they do. Their racism is subconscious. Yours is subconscious, and you don't even admit that such a thing exists. Oh, there's no such thing as Ansuriya Dun al-Wa'i. Racism without awareness, or bias without awareness. No, there is such a thing. How do I know? Because I've had these conversations. Now, black folks, I'm going to tell you right now exactly what Arabs been saying. When I tell them that my daughters are not allowed to marry a man that's not black, unless he's from Indonesia or Malaysia or the Philippines and Muslim, or Southern Thailand and Muslim, because they don't have problems with black people, they say to me, I'm a racist. When I say to them, would you marry a black woman? Yeah, I asked them that. I say to them, would you marry a black woman? Because black doesn't only mean American. You know what they say to me? Something like that. What they say to me is, oh no, we wouldn't do that. But when I tell them about how they are, they want to tell me, oh, you know what they want to say. Because they routinely defend the hypocrisy. They routinely defend their racism and their white supremacy. I'm going to call this what it is. Another way that I know, black folks, that we're dealing with this is that when I had some of my students to read about Malcolm X and come back and tell the rest of the class in English, one of them said to me, was it true that he hated white people? And another one said, no. When he left the League of Elijah Muhammad, he didn't hate white people anymore. And the other one said, Tayyib, as if to say, okay. And I said to them, hold up. If he did hate them at that time, what the hell? Why are y'all so hung up about that? You got relatives that actually do hate black folks, and you don't give a F. I mean, walaikum salam. You may not agree with them, but you wouldn't confront them and ruin your family ties over it. But let one of your black relatives tell you that they hate white people, and they sever the family ties. You're always quicker to blame us than you are to blame the oppressor, and this makes you sympathizers. Your culture is backwards. And this is a terrible conversation to have with believers, or those who want to be. But I'm just letting you guys know. I'm just letting you guys know right now, man, it is bad, bro. I mean, it's not violent. It's not hateful. They're not out here. They don't want to wipe you out, nothing like that. But the subconscious bias that you're going to have to fight against, you're going to have to seriously fight against it. And in all honesty, I would tell you, if you're interested in this faith, the faith is the truth. If you're interested in it, that part's easy. It's the truth. You just need to prepare yourself for the conflicts you're going to have with a bunch of ignorant mulattoes who think that they're, subconsciously think that they're superior and that you're not, or rather they subconsciously think that they're normal and you're somehow abnormal. That's what you got to prepare for. And deep down, many of you know this. Deep down, many of you understand that that's what it is. But you're scared. Many of you were scared to take that plunge because you think, okay, one of them is going to come with some kind of scholarly opinion. And I'm telling you now, you don't even have to be a scholar to know. If a scholar comes with something like that and they blame anybody for something that is a phenotype that was beyond their control, obviously that's not a scholar. He must have cheated during his studies, and it's a very common thing to do in the Gulf. So what I'm telling you is, what you really fear It's not that you can't remain in the faith. No, what you really fear is that you're going to be treated the same way that white supremacists have treated you. And I'm telling you that it won't be quite that bad. But if you really believe it, alaykum salam, if you believe it, go ahead and accept it. And just get ready for the fight of your lifetime. Because trust me this, it is fun. This is not a stressful conflict. It's one of the most fun conflicts I've ever had. And I enjoy, I'm looking forward to the next argument or debate that I'm going to get into. This is what I came here for. As I said, I came here to take the white supremacist wool off of their eyes. And believe you me, when you can get them to shut up long enough to listen and learn something, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, the white man has a new enemy. I love it. Anyway, the next one is probably going to be on something about the Malcolm X documentary. And inshallah, I hope that one day all I've said is not true anymore. And in the meantime, I hope that what I've said helps and benefits. The blackest man on social media signing black out. Assalamu alaikum, and black male power just because they don't like it.